Well, what do you think? Can homeschoolers play sports in public schools? We're going to talk about that. I am Nicolene Peck. I've raised all of my children homeschooling them, and I know the answer to that question, but I want to share with you even more. In this video, I'm going to talk about our family's workings with the public school, even though we've been homeschoolers all the way along. And I'm going to talk about the skills they need to succeed at school sports. But if you stay with me to the end, I've got a special bonus that is going to help your children with their social development too. So I've had 3 children who've had connection with school sports. We had one child who was into basketball, doing basketball over the high school. We've had one child doing soccer and being on the soccer team at the high school. And then we've had one child who was in the show choir and starred in a lot of the musicals and stuff over at the high school as well. And you know what? We homeschooled all the way along. So the one child that was in the show choir, she did go over for one period a day, and she did do the show choir period at the school. But other than that, all the other children just went over for practice or rehearsal for whatever they happened to be involved in. And it worked out great. In fact, the teachers were amazing to work with. Now, I know this could vary from place to place around the world and around the country, but hopefully teachers understand that we pay taxes. In fact, I knew that. I thought we pay taxes. In fact, I don't want my taxes for education to be taken away. Far from. I'm happy to pay taxes to support education and to support community and the other families that I live by, and I like to have the options to have some of these opportunities for my children. So because I'm a taxpayer, they can't really refuse me because I am complying with all of the laws in the state that I live, and so they work with me, and they've been wonderful. I've never seen any problem. In fact, there are some homeschool parents who have even been coaches on the track team at our local high school and stuff like that, so they're pretty good at working with us. There might be more homeschoolers at your school than you think. In fact, there's a lot of touch points that homeschoolers often have with our local middle schools and high schools. I'd like to spend a minute to give you something that you maybe didn't bargain for in this video, and that is how your child can be successful and ready for these sports that they're going to be playing potentially at the public school. I mean, obviously we can't ever bank on that, right? But there are things that they need, or that if they had in place would make them even more appealing to coaches. Now, at the end of the day, they've got to make the team just like anybody else. You can't just go in there and say, I want my child to play for you, and that's it, and they have to accept them on the team. Just like all the other students, they're going to have to try out. So how are they going to make an impression on the coaches, and how are they going to be successful socially on the team? Well, one key thing that you can teach them in your home is calmness. So in our family, we learn to govern ourselves. I actually teach self-government. In fact, this channel is dedicated usually to videos about self-government, but there's such a demand for what Nicolene Peck does in her homeschool, and for me to answer some of these questions, that I started talking about homeschool issues as well, just to benefit some of my listeners that hear me at homeschool conferences. But really, I teach parenting mostly, specifically self-government. And I teach people how to control themselves, how to calmly communicate and be understood. These skills of self-government are vital to your child being successful socially and in their sports setting, because it gives them a different kind of a confidence. The coaches notice it when a person is self-governing. You know, for you to start your self-governing path, below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. It's a free toolkit to start you off on your self-government journey. So if this is your first exposure to teaching self-government, I highly recommend you take the Calm Parenting Toolkit, put it to use, and then see maybe what else you might want to learn from there. So there are 4 skills that your child is going to need to be successful in a team setting at a school. In fact, they need them for their whole life anyway. In fact, if you learn these 4 skills, your homeschool is going to be drastically different in a good way, because you won't have to argue over them getting their stuff done, not doing their chores, stuff like that, because these skills help the child learn how to obey your authority. They need that. They've got to honor parental authority, or they won't be able to honor the authority of the school and the coach. And when they go there, they've got to be ready for that. So teach them how to follow instructions. That's the first skill. Then teach them how to accept no answers and criticize criticism. Teach them how to accept consequences, because you don't always win. You don't always get to play as many minutes as you wanted to play, etc., etc. You don't always get the part in the play that you wish you would have gotten. They need to know how to accept consequences and no answers, and then how to disagree appropriately. So if they need to talk to a coach, do they know how to do that in a respectful way, in a way that's clear, so that they can express their opinions but not get emotional, so that the coach maintains respect for them as well? Hopefully. Most people who run youth sport programs or arts or drama programs or dance programs, they are really impressed by youth who know how to communicate. If they can make eye contact, they can keep a calm face, voice, and body, they can openly express themselves and problem solve with an adult. Whoa, that's good social skills. That's what that's called. And they want a person like that on their team, because that person is going to be a leader with their character and their skills for the whole rest of the team. So even if your child is a new kid on the block when it comes to the team, the coach may take them just because they see leadership qualities that they possess, which hopefully they learned at your house. And if these skills are new to you, remember that Calm Parenting Toolkit that's underneath this video that you can click to, or you can always go to teachingselfgovernment.com and you can find more information there. Remember that bonus that I talked about? Well, here it is. You get to teach your child how to have proper social skills and social development. So I know that when we decide to homeschool, we say to ourselves, all that social stuff, because they always say for the school, they need to go to school because of the social and all of that kind of thing. But in reality, the social is not the most important thing. And we know that. We know the family connection, the bonds, the security, the confidence, the moral compass, that all those things are the most important things. But let's think, how do we learn those things? Well, we learn them in our family, and we learn them socially. So family is the fundamental unit of society, and it actually is the perfect place to learn social. Think about it. Would you rather have your child learn social skills from you, or from same-age peers, or from the media? That's pretty much the only choices that they have. And if you don't do your job at social development, they will learn them from same-age peers and from the media. So just having a friend around is not how we teach social. So if you want to prepare your child to really lead out and to get on that team and to have a successful experience on a school team or in a school arts program, then what you want to do is you want to teach them how to have good social skills. They will succeed there, and it is up to you to teach it. There's two different kinds of intelligence. There's intellectual intelligence and practical intelligence. All the things that we've been talking about on this video have to do with practical intelligence. Learning how to master yourself and control yourself, how to accept no answers, disagree appropriately, be calm, and have proper social skills. Those are all practical intelligence things. The people who run the world, the leaders of the world, excel in practical intelligence. Homeschool parents should not think that they don't have to worry about social skills. No, they should excel at social skills. And if there's one thing that I've been able to give my children, I think that's it. As I've seen them grow now and graduate from my homeschool, I see that their social skills, their practical development have been huge for them. Did you like that bonus? I hope so. So there's more. If you've loved this video, you're going to really enjoy my next video, which is, does homeschool affect getting into college? What do you think? Well, I know the answer because I now have had 3 of my homeschoolers go through college. So let me tell you what I know in that next video.